The Steelers have attracted the second most Super Bowl bets this week. That's the appropriate response, laughing. This is why the house always wins. So, memo to the people betting the Steelers to win the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers' last 30 starts, he's 11-19, passer rating under 90, completing 63% of his throws, and has not won a playoff game since like 2021. He'll be joining a head coach that hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. And by the way, but there is an allure to Aaron Rodgers, because who was the most bet team last year in 2024 to win the Super Bowl? Chiefs? Nope. Bills? Nope. Niners? Nope. Lions? Nope. Eagles? Nope. Ravens? Nope. It was the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers. So Tomlin is tone deaf to offense, and Aaron's past his prime. So that's not even saying playoffs. That's not saying playoffs. So, and here's something that doesn't get talked about with the Steelers, and this is why I've said Aaron Rodgers should go to the Giants. Better left tackle, offensive coach, great weapon. You'll have more power, and the rosters aren't that different. They're really not. Pittsburgh's is better. They're not that different. Pittsburgh doesn't have a left tackle. Giants do. But have you ever noticed this? And I never hear anybody talk about this. So everybody knows in the business, Mike Tomlin's a motivator, right? That's why his teams play well as underdogs, but not as favorites. He's a great motivator. But when does motivating not work? In the playoffs, because everybody's motivated, right? But for a long, tedious regular season, the guy that can bark, boy, September, October, November, it can help. But if you go to the last 12 Steeler games, they're 3-9 and a lot of blowout losses. Motivation is nonsense. Screaming and yelling and getting guys fired up doesn't mean anything in the playoffs. Guys are ready to go. They got their bonuses ready. They want a trophy. Everybody's doing the same thing, focusing on that moment. Sudden death football. You don't need motivation. You need analytics. You know, you need circumstantial greatness, situational brilliance. And what's doubling down on this, the rah becomes rut-row for Pittsburgh every year at the end of the year. If you go back and look at a stat, the Steelers in December or later, the last two seasons, have been one of the worst teams in the NFL. 5 of the last 7 seasons, the Steelers have lost 3+ games in a row late in the year. Why is this? Because as the game has gotten smarter and more offensive, the motivating defensive coach, that stuff wears out by December. You can only give the same speeches so many times. It falls on deaf ears. So the Steelers have become one of the bad NFL teams at the end of seasons. That motivation stuff, it's great early. It's great over a long season. It's great when you're an underdog. It doesn't mean anything against the Ravens, Bills, or Chiefs, or Tom Brady in his prime when it's, January. It doesn't mean anything. So the Steelers, 5 of the last 7 seasons, Russell Wilson could tell Aaron Rodgers if he goes there, it gets old. Nobody wants to hear it. It doesn't have the same impact. So, they are the second most bet team. Just the idea of Aaron Rodgers and adding DK Metcalf for $150 million. And DK Metcalf says, I don't even care who's quarterback here.
They made me felt welcome first off, and then secondly, they made me feel like they had the right decision, with who was going to be throwing me the football. And I'm not making a decision in the quarterback room, so I'm just going to try to do the best of my abilities to help whoever they have out there throwing the football. So they make the correct decisions, to bring the quarterback in here. So I'm just going to roll with that.
Mid-March, no idea who the quarterback is. Does that sound like a Super Bowl team? We don't even know who the quarterback is. We got like 4 guys. We got offers out for 4 guys. Now, it's interesting. So I've been saying this week, my hunch, he signs with the Steelers. I would sign with the New York Giants. I would sign with the Giants. I think the Giants have more pieces that work for Aaron. Offensive coach, young star receiver, excellent left tackle, and a couple of wins over the Cowboys. I think the idea of going to Pittsburgh, you got Joe Burrow twice, you got the Ravens twice, Cleveland's got a great coach and a very good roster. No thanks. I mean, Pittsburgh doesn't have a left tackle now. Myles Garrett, probably Hendrickson coming off the edge, and whoever Baltimore has this year. So it'll be interesting to watch. But to me, the idea that they're the second most bet team, it's just the allure of the Steelers brand. The allure of the alpha Mike Tomlin. The allure of Aaron Rodgers. They're bet to win the Super Bowl more than the teams that we almost feel it's an automatic they win their division. It's crazy. That's the house almost always wins for a reason. Cowboys are fighting. The process in Philadelphia is officially over. And the Lakers, once again, even with Luka and Austin Reeves playing great, are awful and get blown out. Did you notice that?
Listen, you were doing so good, and then you had to throw in that jab at the Lakers. Unnecessary. It's like a flagrant foul right there. Come on, they were missing 3 starters, Colin.
Oh, okay.
But real quick, to go back to the Steelers, can you just give me the thought process, what you think people are betting on the Steelers? And it can't just be Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf.
Oh, I think
they have to think.
So here's what I
else.
think. Like when people bet Bitcoin, I mean, there's no centralized bank in America that acknowledges the Warren Buffetts, who, by the way, ditched $80 billion of Apple stock and bought bonds a year ago. Looks pretty smart today, right?
A little bit.
They don't buy it at all, right? Most of the top financial people, they appease the Bitcoin crowd. But when you buy Bitcoin, you're buying hope. You're buying, essentially, hey, I'm ahead of everybody else. Buying the Steelers is, hey, I'm going to buy them before they get Aaron Rodgers and watch them pop. But it's why the house wins. Aaron in the last 30 games, 2 conferences, 2 coaches, both LaFleur and Mike Tomlin considered above average. He's 11-19, passer rating in the 80s. That's what he is. That is exactly what he is. And Tomlin, between Aaron and Tomlin, they do not perform well late in the year. The numbers don't lie. So I think it's the Bitcoin crowd. You're betting that you're smarter than everybody else, and you're getting in on something before it truly explodes.
And that would be 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. That's what you're betting on, hope?
With DK Metcalf.
Ooh, wow. DK Metcalf. He's going to swing the title odds right there. Oh,
well, again, DK Metcalf's probably worth half a point a game.
This is why the house always wins, because the general public is not that smart, huh? That's a straight-up dumb bet. If one of my friends was like, hey, Steelers to win the title, they're like, what are you talking about? That's insanity.
So now, in 45 minutes, I will give you my AFC predictions. I'll tell you, I'm looking at the AFC West. Is that the best coach division of all time?
I hope you have the Broncos in the playoffs, buddy.
Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll. You know, like they always say when you sit down at a poker table, if you can't spot the mark, it's you. Who's the mark? I mean, that's just Super Bowl trophies everywhere, or at least getting to them. I mean, that is 3 Super Bowl trophies and a Natty trophy and a Super Bowl appearance in Jim Harbaugh. That division's hard. My guess on the AFC West this year, nobody wins more than 12. Nobody wins fewer than 8. It is just going to be all jammed up. I think the NFC North is almost as good, but we just don't know if J.J. McCarthy can play. I mean, I can say what you want about Geno Smith. I know he can play. I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is in Minnesota, so I have no idea.